There are 5 factors that affect elasticity of demand. You could have a product whose elasticity of demand is elastic, inelastic, perfectly inelastic, or what's called unitary elastic. Most of our examples that we're going to talk about are going to be one of these 2 guys. One of these 3 guys, one of the last 3. Let me show you the favorite example in an economics course of something that's perfectly inelastic. Let's say I'm the kind of diabetic that needs 1 shot a day of insulin. So in a month, I need 30 shots, or I'm going to be in bad shape. At a price of $5, I'm going to buy 30 shots. At a price of $20, I'm going to buy 30 shots. At a price of $40, I'm going to buy 30 shots. Because if I don't do that, I'm going to be dead. There's an example of a perfectly inelastic, perfectly inelastic demand, in this case for insulin. Let's try another one. If we go back about 7 years ago, remember when gasoline was going up about 20 cents a day? I think it had risen to about $3.50, $4.50 a gallon. The quantity on the horizontal axis doesn't mean much. The question is, did anybody change their gasoline purchases or their driving habits as the price of gas went up? When I asked most of my classes this, they said when the price went from $1.90 to $2, we didn't change anything. $2.50, we didn't change anything. $3, $3.25. What most classes tell me is when the price of gas about 7 years ago got to $3.50 a gallon, finally people started changing their driving habits. Some started taking the bus to work. Some carpooled. Some got a motorcycle. Some started working from home. Whatever the reason may have been, while the demand for gas was perfectly inelastic, from $2 to $3.25, it became elastic above that. So let's talk about the 5 factors that determine elasticity. I'm probably going to talk a little quickly, but in each of the 5 factors, keep asking yourself, would I change my purchase decision if such and such occurred? Would I change my decision to buy the product or service if such and such existed? First example, or the first factor that affects elasticity, is the availability of substitutes. If your family's favorite cereal is cornflakes, you usually buy Kellogg's. You go to the store and you see that the Kellogg's box is no longer $4, it's $5. The other cornflakes have not changed their price. Will any of you change your purchase decision from Kellogg's, now at $5, to another brand or the store brand at $4? The more substitutes, the more likely you'll change your decision, which would increase elasticity of demand. Some of us buy a chocolate bar or a snack at the vending machine at our place of work. Let's say you normally buy a chocolate bar for $1. You go there during break time tomorrow and you see the price has gone up 20%. It's now $1.20. How many of us would change our purchase decision for a product whose price went from $1 to $1.20? Some of us would. I'm guessing that many of us would not change our decision. So at a low price point, not many of us would change our purchase decision. What if we take that same example to a $20,000 car? You plan to buy it tomorrow, finish the paperwork tomorrow. You get an email tonight that says the price has gone up 20%. Just like the 20% higher chocolate bar. Now the $20,000 car loan is a $24,000 car loan. Will any of us change our decision? The answer is most likely yes, because of a significantly higher price point. So as the price point rises, the elasticity of demand increases. Third factor, when we use the car example. Each of you guys makes $100,000 a year. You've been thinking of getting that $20,000 car for your teenage son or daughter. I make $15,000 a year. I've been thinking of getting that $20,000 car for my son or daughter. We both get an email tonight. We plan to get the car tomorrow. We both get an email tonight that the $20,000 car, the price has gone up to $24,000. You make $100,000 a year. I make $15,000 a year. For me, that 20% price increase may make the car unaffordable. You make so much money that you don't even care. The elasticity of demand increases as you have a lower income. So that's the third factor affecting elasticity of demand. Is it a luxury or necessity? We've used the example of insulin. Inelastic demand because it's a necessity. How about if you're the last gas station before crossing the desert to drive from Arizona to California? You're the last gas station. Do you have to sell your bottles of water at $1 a bottle? Or could you probably sell them at $10 a bottle because you'd consider it a necessity for people crossing the desert? Compare that to a Disney vacation or a Rolex watch, which would be considered luxuries. The more of a luxury the product or service is, the more elastic the demand. The more the product or service is a necessity, the more inelastic the demand. The last factor that affects elasticity of demand has to do with time, and I'm going to give you 3 examples. First example has to do with how much time do you have to research before you make a purchase. Let's say you and your spouse are going to a car dealer to look at different models. Your own car is a junk car that's about to die at any moment. You both work, you both have to get to work each day, and you share the one car. You go into a car dealership, you look at the sticker price, it's whatever the number is, $20,000. And you tell the dealer, we're thinking of buying that car, but you have to look around. You notice that your car has just died. The battery's dead, the engine won't turn over, you have 2 flat tires, and there's smoke coming out of the exhaust. Your car is dead. How much time do you have to research, go to other dealers, check out Craigslist? You're stuck at the dealership with a car that has died. You have no time to make your decision. You have to leave the lot with a car. You have no time to make the decision. If the dealership raised the price of the car while you're sitting there, you might have to pay the higher price. This, by the way, is the reason dealers do not want you to leave the lot without buying something. Even if it's not a new car, they want you to buy a used car. They do not want to give you time to make your decision. The more time you have to make your decision, the more elastic the demand is. Who is this gal? This is the Morton Salt gal. When's the last time you bought salt? It's been so long I can't remember. Maybe a year ago, 6 months ago. I can't even remember how much I paid for it the last time. Also, if I only buy it every 6 months or every year, who cares if they raise the price? The more frequent your purchase, the more elastic the demand. The less frequent your purchase, the less elastic the demand. Finally, I don't think I have a slide for it, affecting elasticity in terms of timing is convenience. I normally go to Walmart to buy that 10-pound bag of cat food, get a pretty good price. My son buys his cat food, he has 2 cats, he buys his cat food in small boxes from 7-Eleven. He pays more for 2 7-ounce boxes than I pay for 10 pounds. Why? Because it's convenient. And the managers of 7-Eleven probably understand elasticity of demand and that people will pay more to gain convenience. The more important convenience is to you, the more inelastic the demand is. They can get away with raising their prices. If you can predict, or if you can review these 5 or 6 factors that affect elasticity, you can predict what will happen if you change the price. There's also something referred to as elasticity of supply. This is how much will the quantity supplied change if the price changes, if the price that the supplier can get changes. Let's use roses. I'm a greenhouse that grows roses. Or better yet, I'm a Christmas tree farm. I get a call from that guy in the parking lot outside of Walmart late in December and says, I just ran out of Christmas trees. I need you to send me another truckload of trees. What do I tell the guy? I probably tell the guy to call back next year because I need another year to grow the trees to an adequate height. They're all 3 feet or less. The minimum height to sell is 4 or 5 feet. I simply don't have the time, no matter what the price is that he's willing to pay. The same thing could be said for the rose greenhouse or the rose florist. If there's a rush on roses at Mother's Day, how fast can the greenhouse grow more roses if the store runs out of roses this afternoon, the day before Mother's Day? So the longer it takes a supplier to react to supplying more, the more inelastic the supply. Same thing is true of wine. How long does it take to grow grapes for wine? About 3 or 4 years. So the time to react is the key factor that determines elasticity of supply. This was our last short video for Module 1. In Module 2, we'll be learning about the importance of forecasting consumer demand and learning how to do regression analysis.